Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm KAMILAH Williams. Thank you for joining us. Arizona is currently under a flood watch that lasts through Wednesday night. All day, clouds move through the valley, and the nation's weather service says the remnants of Tropical Storm Nora are moving into the state. Showers and thunderstorms are expected to bring heavy rainfall. Meteorologists say storms from the south could bring rainfall up to 2 inches per hour and will most likely result in flash flooding. That could happen in normally dry washes, small streams, and areas with poor drainage. Areas burned by the wildfires across the state are also at risk for flooding. Arizona is currently 20 states suing the Biden administration to stop federal agencies from extending sex discrimination protections to LGBTQ people. The lawsuit challenges federal protections prohibiting schools and employers from having bathrooms, locker rooms, school sports teams, and workplace dress codes based on biological sex. The state attorney general is filing the lawsuit, says that the authorities over these policies belong to Congress, the states, and the people. They say they are at risk of losing federal education funding if schools and colleges fail to follow the guidance protecting gay and transgender students. Today, the State Department of Health reported fewer COVID-19 cases, but that's not due to a decrease in cases. There's a data processing problem that is expected to be fixed by tomorrow. Pima County's chief medical officer met with the media today to discuss the rising number of COVID-19 cases. He says overall hospitalizations in Pima County have been pretty modest, and so modest that some ICU patients from other states have even had to come to Arizona for a hospital bed.
I can tell you that some of our hospitals have been receiving transports from out of state, not of COVID patients, but of patients who are requiring urgent surgery, but who can't get it in those states because it is just, there are not sufficient beds to be able to offer those services.
He credits Pima County's relatively low hospitalization rates to the county's high vaccination rates. But he's still urging everyone to wear a mask when in a public space and especially when traveling. The U.S. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Dennis McDonough, visited Arizona this week to speak at the American Legion National Convention and the Phoenix Veterans Affairs healthcare system. The Phoenix VA healthcare system offers all types of veterans, such as disability compensation, home loans, rehabilitation, and other forms of benefits and aid. The Secretary spoke about what is affecting veterans the most: COVID-19 and the war in Afghanistan. According to the center, there are currently 21 patients hospitalized at the Carl Hayden VA Hospital with COVID. McDonough stressed the importance veterans have in our community. And after the last plane in Afghanistan was withdrawn yesterday, he spoke about the emotions and the veterans are feeling.
There are understandably a range of emotions that veterans are feeling. What we've communicated is, 1, we hear you. 2, you're not alone. 3, we have services here for you.
He continued to thank all veterans and those that still serve. And with the pandemic still in full force, the Veterans Affairs Department and American Legion are trying to provide all veterans with the help and support they need. The 102nd American Legion National Convention is being held in Phoenix through Thursday. Congress is gearing up to vote for a policy that impacts not only the state of Arizona, but the entire nation. Cronkite News reporter Carolina Hassett found some Arizona state's lawmakers have one thing on their minds: national paid leave.
Sometimes a picture on the side of a building can speak in layers.
I felt a lot of empathy for the situation, and I felt that my art was in a place where I could express what they were trying to say. and the different situations that families are put through, and then the resolution of if they had paid leave, how life would be.
The mural you see behind me was created by Shachi Kali, and it took a little over a couple weeks. This mural represents the struggles families and especially mothers face due to certain maternity laws here in Arizona. Now, organizations like Paid Leave for the United States and Chicanos por la Causa are partnering to make sure this art speaks to the community about paid leave. President Biden introduced the American Families Plan in April. It would give up to 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave.
18 years ago, I was paralyzed by random gun violence.
State Representative Jennifer Longden has personal experience when it comes to an overwhelming amount of medical bills.
As a result of it, I faced exceptional medical costs. It left me without the care that I needed at an incredibly vulnerable time.
Other representatives think that if the American Family Plan passes, it will work towards the equality of all individuals when it comes to family leave.
This also provides an avenue for LGBT individuals who have adopted or who have had a child through surrogacy or whatever option to have the same opportunity, something that's not currently in PFMLA, paid medical family leave across the country.
If there's a message in this art, it is one of healing and purpose for everyone. In Phoenix, Carolina Hassett, Cronkite News.
Leaders are asking residents to reach out to U.S. Senator Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly to urge them to vote for national paid leave for all. And now look back at some of the top political stories from our state involving infrastructure and other topics.
Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego met with President Joe Biden today in Washington, D.C. She is trying to build support for a plan that could bring billions into infrastructure improvements. Reporter Julia Sandor caught up with Gallego after the meeting with the president.
A bipartisan delegation of governors and mayors visited the president to discuss a federal infrastructure plan. Mayor Kate Gallego is one of the 8 members supporting the framework. The plan, called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Framework, would cost about $1.2 trillion. They want to build and expand roads, water systems, and railroads, among other physical infrastructure, over the next 8 years. They are also hoping to start projects that include green energy and electrical infrastructure. Biden emphasized that infrastructure is essential to the economy and to the job market across the country. Gallego believes the framework will have a positive impact and help the city of Phoenix.
The president was very aware of the issues facing Phoenix. He talked specifically about the Colorado River and the Hoover Dam, some of the drought issues we're facing, and how we can help prepare and become more resilient. We also spoke about the semiconductor economy in Phoenix and some of the infrastructure we need for those very high-wage jobs.
For Arizona, the money from this project would go towards water storage improvements, expanding transit options, wildfire prevention and cleanup, and many other infrastructure needs. If passed, it will be the largest transportation project approved by Congress, and it's not expected to increase taxes. In the Broadcast Center, Julia Sandor, Cronkite News.
The bipartisan infrastructure framework is supported by more than 300 elected officials across the country. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg came to Arizona to meet with mayors and senators to discuss how transportation will be impacted. Reporter Julia Sandor was downtown at the news conference yesterday.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg visited Phoenix yesterday as a part of his 3-day infrastructure tour, which started in Oregon and will end in Illinois. His main focus in Arizona is to shed light on the bipartisan investment in infrastructure and how that investment could help different communities.
But we've got to recognize that there are a lot of people who have no choice but to look to public transit or to make long and sometimes unsafe pedestrian commutes in what can often be crushing heat here in a place like Maricopa County. All the more reason why it is about expanding possibilities for people in their lives, and when they can fully contribute to the economy, the whole community is better off.
The proposal includes $49 billion for public transit, and the Federal Transit Agency recommended giving Valley Metro nearly $1.6 million for projects.
I believe the federal government can and should step up even more. That's what we're talking about when it comes to great infrastructure investment. Tangible projects that can change people's lives for the better, strengthen our economy, and help us better take on the challenge of the future.
Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego and Tempe Mayor Corey Woods explained how these expansions could help families in their communities. Buttigieg says their support goes a long way, and the infrastructure plan can help the U.S. become the most competitive country in the 21st century.
The transformation that I've seen in the heart of Phoenix, I think, reflects what leadership can do and definitely what good public investment can do.
In Phoenix, Julia Sandor, Cronkite News.
Buttigieg says the Department of Transportation is taking this historic opportunity to get more investments and talk to more communities that need help. Arizona representatives say they hope the bill will be passed sometime next week.
Arizona State University has revised its policies for dealing with victims of crime following a federal investigation. At issue, the conditions for a student to access information on a sexual assault case. Cronkite News reporter Peyton Watts tells us what the issues are.
The Clery Act was put in place to ensure that universities around the country included every crime that happened on campus in their annual statistics. It also protects victims of crimes, including the Arizona State student who reported a sexual assault last year. In a letter to ASU's General Counsel, the Department of Education said the university violated the act when it failed to provide written information about the complainant's rights and options, available accommodations, and protective measures. ASU also reportedly required the victim to sign a non-disclosure agreement before receiving the results of the perpetrator's consequences. According to the Education Department, a university cannot put conditions of any kind on a victim of an alleged sexual assault.
Our practice is consistent with the Department of Education and the Clery Act. And so the only time we request that parties sign a non-disclosure agreement, as I just stated, is if they are going to obtain a copy of the investigative file rather than coming in to review the file in the university's possession.
The university and the victim's attorney had a disagreement over what the non-disclosure agreement was used for in this case. Laura Dunn, the victim's lawyer, said that ASU was not cooperative with her and her client throughout.
Tried to get the school to abide by the law, copied and pasted and cited the law, and was told to go pound sand effectively. And I've never had a school be that brazen to just knowingly contradict as written federal statutes.
In response to the Department of Education's letter, the university revised its Clery Act procedures. It will no longer require students to sign a non-disclosure agreement in conduct cases covered by the Act, and it will provide written information regarding rights and options for students who report sexual violent incidents. In Tempe, Peyton Watts, Cronkite News.
Arizona State notified students and community stakeholders about the changes last Friday. You may read the full report and all of the revisions online at asu.edu/police.
Many social justice issues have come to light within the past year. Cronkite News reporter Aaron Slindy tells us how two different running groups that represent minority communities came together for an annual run this past weekend.
Black Men Run and Latinos Run teamed up for the 4th annual Run for Justice on Saturday morning.
It's important, so we all run for different reasons, but today we run for justice.
This is the second year that these two communities have come together for the virtual 5K. The runners want to show their community that if they can come together and run, they can also come together to help spread awareness about social justice issues.
It's definitely a great start. Once we come together in one aspect of society, if it's just to get together for walk and run, then we can have a open mind talk about other issues that are more difficult to deal with.
This event not only included runners from the Phoenix area, but from all over the country. From the West Coast to the East Coast, runners showed up to support a healthy lifestyle and promote social justice issues.
But we showed that there's a commonality in just lacing them up and running together.
And runners don't have to be Black or Latino to join these groups.
They accepted me with open arms, I accept them, and it's just a great group of guys and women and kids. Everybody feeds off their energy. And the first time I ran with them, I knew I was with good people.
Black Men Run and Latinos Run also welcome runners that have high experience and runners that may not have any experience at all.
Don't be scared, don't be intimidated, but it's a race. No, it's a group that just gets together. We run and then we go tweet.
To join the group, you can reach out to Black Men Run and Latinos Run on their website or on social media. In Tempe, Aaron Slindy, Cronkite News.
A portion of the proceeds went towards the ACLU and Equal Justice Initiative.
Mexican Independence Day is September 16th. In honor of this day, the Mexican consulate in Phoenix hosted an art competition to celebrate and encourage artists in the community. Faith Abercrombie introduces us to some of the young talent.
With competitors ages ranging from 6 to 14 years old, the one thing every piece of art has in common: Mexican independence.
I am Mexican American, and it meant a lot to me to be part of this competition because of how I got to just put things I know from experience from parties. The decorations they have are from all these different movies I've seen, how they all have all the music, the food, and just combine it into one piece.
The art contest was held at Chico, an art organization that encourages Latinx and indigenous artists to use their voice through creativity.
It's very important for Mexican children to try to conserve, to keep their Mexican identity.
I really like how I did include the Mexican flag as a part of it.
The Mexican flag, symbolism, and historical events were drawn, painted, and colored onto these sheets of paper.
I think we have a lot of talent on indigenous communities and also in Latin communities. Well, here in Arizona, most of the Latin Hispanic people are from Mexican descent, and we think they need a voice.
The young artist left the gallery not only with a smile, but also with pride.
I just don't want it to be forgotten that, you know, the future generations coming from my bloodline, that they're a part of Mexico and they're always going to be a part of Mexico.
In Phoenix, Faith Abercrombie, Cronkite News.
Each year, the art contest is based on specific topics related to Mexico. Last year's theme focused on Mexican wrestling, Lucha Libre.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us. And I'll break it down why more diverse directors are needed in Hollywood. That's next. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.